Dudes, back again, shouting out open minded folk everywhere. It's doing something that just random choice. This is from the Firm. I was just telling Claude when Dr. Dre started Aftermath after he left Death Row. He had 2 albums he put out, and they both bombed. Like, they didn't do good at all. And that was right before the Chronic 2001. It sold like 10 million. And then Eminem's second album sold like 30 million within 2 or 3 years. I think it's still the biggest selling hip hop album ever, the Marshall Mathers LP. That shit was fucking massive back then. But
yeah, I remember.
But these projects, man, these ain't bad.
A lot, only because everybody had that.
Yeah, I never had that one. I had the one before that, Slim Shady, and then I had Encore that somebody burned me on a disc or whatever. But,
nice.
But yeah, the Firm. It's got Nas. It's got
I had
Foxy Brown, AZ,
Metallica,
Mature Nature.
That's about it.
I remember I had Load on cassette. Like I used to listen to it back in the 90s. I used to listen the fuck out of that shit. And then I don't know where it went. And then there was a song on there by, it was the first time I ever heard Primus. I still don't even know who the hell they were back then. They're doing a Beavis and Butthead song.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Beavis Butthead show. It was like this fucking funky shit.
I didn't like it.
But, yeah, Metallica. Back on track. Yeah, it's got Nas, Foxy Brown, AZ, this guy named Nature, and then this song's featuring Canibus. So, you know,
featuring Canibus.
You ever dance with the devil under the pale moonlight?
Maybe people just didn't get these albums either. You know what I mean?
Desparados. Traveling.
Yeah, the first, the Keaton,
Batman.
Nicholson, Batman. There's so many, like, different.
Was this part of that movie?
No, this shit came out in like 98.
Oh.
But there's so many like interpretations of how his parents get killed. You know, like so many versions of it. Batman's parents and shit. You know what I mean? But like even in like I know we're back off track here, but I have to like in Batman Begins when they're like his family's like billionaires and shit. They're in an opera house. They're like, oh, let's leave. And then they go out the shittiest fucking alleyway ever by themselves. And like, yeah, you're the Wayne family. You got fucking bodyguard. You know what I mean? Like, then they get gunned down. I'm like, yeah, I mean, that shit might happen. There's poor people all around you. You're rich as shit.
Fucks up, son.
The fuck's up?
Do this, we're back. Do this. On the Henny, getting right, breaking big face pennies, betting against the friendly dice. I can't call it, it's going too good to spoil it. Tell it like it is, the raw should never be recorded. Too many nights on the Henny, getting right, breaking big face pennies, betting against the friendly dice. I can't call it, it's going too good to spoil it. Tell it like it is, the raw should never be recorded.
Celsius, I make MCs melt. Fuck my record label, I appear courtesy of myself. Let me explain how I maintain threshold of pain. I'm walking across the sun barefoot, looking for shade. Rearrange rib cage like a 12 gauge at close range. Change the position of the brain. My hard back penetrate through your hard hats and all.
Did you hear what he just said?
I'll change the position of your brain with my 12 gauge. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, he said he's gonna rearrange your rib cage just like a 12 gauge and change the position of your brain.
Dude, every time I hear his voice, like it's like heavy metal to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His voice is like it makes me want to do this shit most of the time. Just when he raps, it doesn't even matter. You could have this fucking Spanish sounding beat on it and shit, and it still makes me want to like mosh pit when I hear his. It's just like he's got this grit to his voice that just
compels you.
Yeah, it draws you in for real. It commands your attention and shit.
He's a commander.
Nas is like that too. You know?
In a totally different way, like.
Yeah,
Nas is more subtle and just
more laid back.
To you, but
Canibus is like aggressive and shit. Just the tone, you know what I mean?
Whip pill back. I scalp you like the Indians on horseback. Running bull will hit you harder than running back. Stunning man with brave and cunning racks. Swiftly running laps around 48 tracks. Like uncut crack, you fiends keep coming back. Heads just flipping like acrobats on gym mats. From wax to analog tapes, the digital facts is critical black. The Canibus See through project and ask the nausea. My nigga nature will explain it further if it's not clear.
Millionaire, look at the shot, make sure it's still here. Ice grill stairs, and my jury is a heavy year. He ain't caught in, back in the down, hand top, down legs, neighbor Rex, rock and crime. Initiated to the firm shit. Real thugs learn quick. Sit back and feel the ultimate hit. Initiated to the firm shit. Real thugs learn quick. Sit back and feel the ultimate hit.
Lock in, do the knowledge, follow the dots when we clocking. On your airwaves, keeping it rocking. Blaze up, get fire like your purple haze up. Bitch, you tired, bitch ass niggas need to be tased up. So blaze up, fuck the playing. I'm sick of laying like a bitches playing no fast.
This might be AZ, huh? Was that Nature before him doing the hook, kind of? Because Nas kicked it off with the hook, which was cool as shit.
Hey, shells, niggas stand snatched up. This
I think it kind of sounds like AZ, because when we did Life's a Bitch off of the Illmatic album, like this sounds like...
big court, eyes half shut, co-defendant court of life sentence, seem to cracked up. Be at what you will, bell to mill, nigga cool still, but I'll be home before the news will blast you to be perfect, fake Matthews. Perhaps you confuse the concept like gas moves and carve another homo. These involved, don't squeeze, condo C's, 7 keys to solve daily routine. Speaking up for niggas who sling, hand to hand on the street corners, claiming you can. It's time to lock this. Join with us, let your glocks pick up through the toxic. Only fake niggas try snitch. Get your guns out. It don't take much for me to dumb out. Play one bout, lay your shit down and bust out.
What's the cause of this shit? More statistics, deeper than the laws of physics. Malibu sand and gorgeous bitches. Weed from 125, my whole crew live. A true desperado, one that never choose sides to show sympathy. Just QB, an entity, stock exchange. Top of the game, watch you mention me. Image is nothing, just obey your third. I blaze the purple haze, sit in the days, then display it first. For those concerned, or just eager to learn. I speak for the firm, was on to keep the Shiva to burn. Stashing my riches, past traditions, like Olympics past the torch. Flip shit, so y'all prepare for my thoughts. I'm drifting, it's tight ill.
That's
It was
crazy.
released October 21st, 97 by
Shit.
Aftermath Entertainment,
Yep,
Interscope Records.
yep.
Project
Jimmy
was
Iovine.
created by rapper Nas, his manager Steve Stout, and producer Dr. Dre, track masters, who came up with the idea of forming a
You know, I've been
hip-hop
watching
supergroup.
the Defiant Ones on Hulu, which is a 4-part series about Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine. He owns Interscope Records.
Wow.
He produced Stevie Nicks, Tom Petty, Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
Like, he was a well-known producer in the 70s and shit. And then when the 80s hit, he didn't really do much until he found... You know who fucking turned him on? This is crazy. To the Chronic album? Don McLean, American Pie dude, knew of Dr. Dre, knew that he was in NWA like in the late 80s and shit.
That's
and
pretty cool.
gave the gave Jimmy Iovine, like, you have to listen to this shit. And then when you listen to the Chronic, like Nothing But a G Thing, it's fucking like his sonics are incredible. Dr. Dre, like nobody. That's why everybody always reveres him as like the producer in hip hop, because his sound is always like next level.
Yeah.
So when they hooked up, like they started Death Row, like Suge Knight and all that shit had Death Row, and then it was backed by Interscope. Interscope's backed by Atlantic. Time Warner owns everything. So that's like the chain of command for. It was just cool. It's interesting watching shit like that. It's related to the music industry, and these super successful motherfuckers that,
Oh, hell yeah.
you know what I mean? Jimmy Iovine's a beast. When it comes to negotiating and shit, he's like you'll never win. You'll never win. Like, he got like Trent
Who is
Reznor.
it?
Jimmy Iovine.
Oh, yeah?
He got Trent Reznor out of from 9 Inch Nails out of some shitty contract, and called this dude, like the guy that owned the other label, every day for a year, and just did his thing, you know. And a year later, he was out of it and signed to Interscope, and then put out like Closer and all those videos that he was known for in the early 90s and shit. Like, I remember being a kid watching, and I didn't even know who 9 Inch Nails was, and seeing their Woodstock 94 performance, and I thought it was the most insane shit. I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
What is it?
When 9 Inch Nails played at Woodstock 94. It was fucking crazy, dude. The performance, and everyone's just covered in mud.
Waking up looking like Phil, 20 years younger, same hunger, same ice grill. Genetically formed grade A pedigree. Born to carve rhymes, a swift tongue, help to set it free. Theoretically, people how we blessed this. Young and restless, guns and westerns, learning to connect through lessons. From cool beats to caps, niggas shoot back. It's a proven fact, 9-7's mine, y'all niggas move back. Spend too many nights on the head again, right? When you think
If you were to not know who did this song, would you guess that if Dr. Dre produced it? I wouldn't. I don't think, because this doesn't. I can understand probably now why this wasn't accepted
I
back
don't know.
then by
Dr.
his
Dre
fan
has a
base.
certain sound.
That's what it is. You know what I mean? This
That is
sounds
such a
different.
polished
This sounds
song
different
that
as fuck compared to his, you know, like his sound. I think he was just
I mean,
experimenting
it doesn't
at the
surprise
time.
me. I
He
had
was
no
trying
clue,
something that
you know, it
different.
didn't click that Dr. Dre
Produced
produced this,
this.
but to me it makes sense. That was
He was trying something different, probably too. You know what I mean? Like he didn't want to repeat himself. You know, let's try this with this instrument as the main
I mean,
shit.
just the fact that they were a super group to begin with.
Yeah,
was
dude.
So
All those
revolutionary.
rappers, yeah. Plus, you get features of other rappers. So, yeah.
That was
It wasn't bad, dude.
yeah.
That was a well put together song. Like the way it was layered. All the artists came in vocally. It's pretty cool.
A Desperado vibe. Of
He gave Canibus
just,
a verse
you
pretty
know,
quick. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, dude. He really, that was actually very unique how it was stacked vocally. Like, it, you know what I mean? Like, Nas kind of kicked it off, and then later on, even Nature had, like, it sounded like he had a hook or something. And then all the verses in between and shit. Like,
I guess originally the lineup was Nas, Foxy Brown, and Cormega.
oh, yeah. That's some cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of his homies, too. Yeah. Peace, we out of here. There's a reaction for you. We're talking about all types of shit in this one, not just hip hop.
Yeah.
All
Listen
over the
with your
place.
smartphone.
But yeah, man, something different. You know what I mean? It's crazy to think that someone like Dr. Dre would even have, you know, albums that didn't do good, but at the same time,
You need that.
you need that to build your character, and you need those. You got to take those L's to really
Grow. Yeah.
get there. Yeah. And then he proved that shit, like him meeting Eminem and working with him, and then, you know, and they're putting out the 2001 shit at the same time, and like all those albums that came out when he was really hitting, and yeah.
Yeah, if you got the resources, or
When I was a kid, that shit was
even
crazy
what
huge.
the resources
I was a
are,
teenager.
you know, you can
Yeah.
do a lot.
Yeah, when I was like 18 and shit, like that Chronic 2001 album was massive. And like, you know, MTV was the shit back then with music. Like there was no smartphones. Like
Yeah.
Napster was
And,
just
like,
happening. You know,
Every
wasn't
every
really
artist
downloading shit, really.
invented their own way of recording themselves
but, yeah.
in the beginning, and
Yeah.
to put out tapes and shit for people just to hear
Yeah.
them in the beginning. Like you'd have to get pretty inventive, especially back
Dude.
then when technology was just
Right.
starting to come out.
We're using
Like
cassettes based.
a lot of these people
stuff.
created the technology we use today to make the music.
Like Too Short and Dr. Dre both did that shit, and probably many other rappers, where when they started off like hustling in the streets, like really selling their tapes, eventually people wanted them to shout them out on these tapes,
Yeah, right.
and then they're paying me, you know, I'll give you an extra 10 or 20 if you do that. And so, you know,
Yeah,
then, you know, it's like a personalized tape. Like Too Short talked about that shit. They get their own
right.
shit. And even back then, like 1983, paying $20 for a cassette, you know, that's quite a bit.
Oh,
But
hell yeah.
but hey man,
Plus putting a little
pretty
extra on
cool.
top for
sound out
the
the
next
trunk.
one having their name mentioned. in
Yeah,
it.
a lot of artists, a lot of like Master P, man, he's fucking super successful. He started out the trunk, selling cassettes. You know, he's from like Louisiana
I
or some
remember
shit.
kids
No
in
Limit
my high
Records,
school class would,
massive back then.
like
Still a huge label, I'm sure.
talk about him a lot. And, like, do the na na na.
Yeah,
thing.
but he
And
signed a
people
lot of
would
art.
always. You'd hear somebody in the class.
And
would
he was
go,
doing, like,
"Oh,"
movies.
and then somebody else would go na 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 na.
I remember everyone used to watch I Got the
and it
Hookup.
would disrupt the whole class.
Did you ever watch I Got the Hookup?
Huh?
I Got the Hookup. It was a movie with Master P in it. And he's like hustling cell phones back in like 98 or 2000 or some shit. But yeah, he was doing shit like that. He was doing like independent films, and you know, before a lot of, I mean, there, you know, Tupac was doing that shit, but there wasn't a lot of rap. I think Tupac was like the first one to really do like film and, you know, be known as a musical artist.
What was that guy, Humpty Hump, or
Shock G.
I don't know.
Rest in peace,
The
man.
guy with the big nose.
Yeah,
I think it
Shock
was like
G,
a fake
man.
nose, though, wasn't it?
He passed away like a year or two ago.
Yeah, he
Rest
did
in
a lot
peace,
of
man.
movies.
Dude,
I saw like a bunch of movies.
Digital Underground was fucking crazy back then, and that's what Tupac came up under. He was like a roadie for them and a stage performer before he did his solo shit.
Yeah, I mean that's how you learn. You
Yeah,
know? You know,
He's up
travel
there.
with the best, and then go
Yeah.
your own path.
he's up there dancing like stripping on stage. Rest in peace, man. All the legends and shit did their thing. We out. If you made it to 16 minutes, God bless you.